Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to the session today. Hope you guys are doing good.
Recording in progress.
So yesterday what we have seen is that, right? So we have learnt about cloud storage. So this is a cloud storage, guys, a fully managed service. And we need not to manage any physical infrastructure here. A service for storing your data, any kind of a data we can store, any amount of data we can store, any number of files also we can store. And if I wanted to store anything in the cloud storage, the very first thing that I have to do is that create a bucket. What is a bucket? A bucket is nothing but a container. An object is nothing but a file. And we're going to keep the objects inside a bucket. And what kind of a system it is? It is a scalable and secured platform, right? So we were seeing how to create a bucket, and what are things that we have to keep in mind while creating a bucket. So that is what we were seeing yesterday, right? So let us see now. So we have seen while creating a bucket, we have to give a globally unique name. So I'm gonna giving the globally unique name, that is landing underscore 0706/2023. So I have given a proper name. I'm clicking on continue, and the very second step is to select the location. We already know how to select a location type smartly. So we have three locations. One is region, dual region, one more is multi-region. So region, dual region, and multi-regions, we have three options here. So in a region, we do not have any replication. So even though the data loss may occur, but for the dual region, you have a replication between two regions, and multi-region, you have a replication between multiple regions. So that is what it is. Due to that, your data is highly available, latency will also be lesser. So for that purpose, at any cost, if I don't want it to lose the data, I can go to the multi-region. Okay, I'm selecting the multi-region here and clicking on continue. And then very next step is storage classes. So how many storage classes we have, guys? Storage classes. Okay, so what is the advantage of the storage class? We don't want it to pay an extra money if we are going for a frequently accessed file. So standard is for frequently accessed file. Data access at rate once in month, access at rate once in quarter, and this is access at rate once in year. So this is how it is. So if your requirement is falling under any of these things, then you can go for any of such things. So according to my requirement, I am having a file which I'm going to access it frequently. So that's the reason I'm selecting the storage class as standard. Okay, so I'm selecting the storage class as standard, and I'm clicking on continue. Now this is a place where we have to select the access control. Okay, let us focus on this point now. Okay, so assume that I have a file. I have created a bucket. So this is my bucket. Okay, assume that I have created a bucket. This is my bucket. Inside that, I have plenty of the files. This is my sales.csv. I have a department.csv. I have some schema.json. Okay, I have some other document.word. So whatever it is. So I have 4 files inside my bucket, sir. Okay. So I have 4 files inside my bucket. Now let us see a criteria. So assume that I have a one person. Okay, there is a person here, person A, person 1 and person 2. It has a data engineer 1 and data engineer 2 also, that is also fine. So what is this person 1 is want? This guy wanted to access all the files inside a bucket. What is this guy, sir? This guy wanted to access this one department that need to have access to all the files. This guy, but this guy need to have access to only 2 files. Okay, if I provide him the bucket level access, what happened is that this guy will unnecessarily will have access to all of the files, so which we don't want that. So that's where the concept of access control came into the picture. Access control is to control the objects of your bucket. Okay, if you have a bucket and you have a files inside your bucket, access control gonna tell you that how to control the objects access, how to control the access of your objects to your bucket. So that is what told by the access control. So assume that, so for this one needs to have all the files access, so that I'm gonna provide him access at bucket level. Okay, what I will do, sir, I will provide him the access at red bucket level. So he will be having access to all the files. Can I provide the same access to this person as well? No, right? I can't provide it. If I provide it unnecessarily, he will be having access to the rest of the files as well, which we don't want it to do it. This is a principle of least privilege. The principle of least privilege, what it will say is the unnecessary permissions has to be provided to the right person at a right service. So that is what it is, right? So we don't want it to provide all the files access to the person two. We just wanted to provide access to the sales.csv and department.csv. So for that one, we're going to provide him access at rate object level. So object level, we are going to provide him the access. Okay. So for providing the access to the entire bucket, so this is for entire bucket. So whatever the files inside the bucket now, he will be having access. And this is for object level. Only individual object. Individual objects. So we will be only providing the access to the individual objects here. Okay. So this is what is the access control, guys. How do you want to provide the access to your individual persons? So for example, assume that you are creating a bucket. Tomorrow your bucket will be used by some people, because you are a manager, you are creating a bucket. You are a DevOps engineer, you are creating a bucket. You are a data engineer, you are creating a bucket. But that bucket will be used by your teams, right? Team members. So your team member 1 and team member 2. Team member 1 is a senior engineer, team member 2 is a junior engineer. For the senior engineer, I wanted to provide access to the entire bucket. For the junior engineer, he is working on only 2 files. I will provide him access to the only that 2 files. So how I am going to achieve it? So this is how I am achieving it. I will provide him the access at rate bucket level, and I will provide him the access at rate object level. There is a proper nomenclature for these names. So this is called as a uniform access. Uniform, okay, this uniform. The uniform is nothing but a access to the entire bucket. This is fine grain. Fine grain means access to the bucket at an individual objects level. Okay, I'm not providing the entire access to the bucket. I'm providing the access to the individual objects here. So this is what is a access control, guys. You have two terminologies. One is uniform, one more is fine grained. Uniform is nothing but a access at rate bucket level. Fine grained is nothing but a access at rate object level. So for this guy, I will provide him the access to the bucket level. Okay. For this guy, I will provide the access to the each individual object level. Okay. So this is what is nothing but our access control. So access control is more of talking about providing access to the individual buckets or an entire bucket to a particular person or a group of persons. Okay, so this is what is the access control, guys. It is more of a controlling the access to your buckets or objects. Okay, so let's go there. So what is one? Access control. We have two options. One is uniform. That means access at rate. Access at rate bucket level. One more is fine grained. That is access at rate object level. Okay, so let us go and see here. See here, guys, you have two options. One is uniform. Ensure the uniform access to all the objects in the bucket by using the bucket level permissions. Nothing but a IAM. So as I told you, so this is a bucket level permissions. This can be achieved with the help of IAM. Okay, and this is a object level permissions. This can be achieved with the help of the ACLs, access control list. Okay, we will see all of those things. Need not worry about it. So far this is a topic, but this will be achieved with the help of the IAM, and this will be achieved with the help of the ACLs. We will see that worries. Okay, and what is a fine grained? Specify access to the individual objects by using object level permissions. Nothing but ACLs. Nothing but a access control list. Okay, in addition to the bucket level permissions. So that is what it is. So I'm going to click on fine grained for now. Click on, because I wanted to provide a access to the individual objects. So when you go to the fine grained, right, you will be able to do two things. Okay, you can provide a individual objects level plus bucket level also. Okay, so that is what it is. When you go for a bucket level, you can only just specify bucket level. But when you go to the object level, fine grained, you'll be able to provide access at bucket level as well as object level, both the things. Okay, so that is what it is. You'll be able to see fine grained and click on continue. Okay, we will see that, guys. In action, we will see it. Okay, now the next thing is how to protect your bucket. Protection. Okay, protection tools. So there are two things. Either do you want it to go for object versioning, retention policy, right? Yeah, object versioning. Next one is retention policy. It is all about deleting your file, having one more copy of the file, guys. Because even though if it is deleted, how we are going to ensure it? Even though it is modified, how we are going to have one more copy of the file? So that is what it is about protection tools. So we have two things. One is object versioning. One more is retention policy. Let us see what is this object versioning and retention policy. Sir, assume that you have created a bucket. Okay, this is your bucket. Okay, inside that you have a file called sales.csv. Okay, assume that someone has modified this file. Okay, someone has modified this file. Okay, so now tell me, do you want it to keep the modified file or the earlier file also? Okay, now tell me, if someone is modifying this particular file, what happened is that there are two things. One, you wanted to keep the original file as well as the modified file, or you wanted to overwrite the you wanted to overwrite the existing file with the modified file. Okay, two options. One is keeping two things, one more is overwriting. So what do you want it? So if you wanted to have both versions of the file, that means the unmodified file, that means earlier file, as well as the modified file, then you can go for the object version. Object versioning is that whenever someone is modifying your file, if you wanted to keep both versions of the file, nothing but a original file as well as a modified file. This is your modified file. That is version 1. So this is how. So this is your original file. From this one, whatever the modified things are there now, this is your modified file. So if you try to modify this one, you will, if you wanted to keep this as well, then you can go for the object versioning, that is sales_2.csv. So this way you will be able to have object versioning. So why we are going for object versioning, sir? Assume that there is a junior data engineer working on this particular file. What happens is that if you don't enable the object versioning, what he will do is he will try to work on this file, and the original file will be gone. Only the modified file will be there. If you don't enable the object versioning, all the original files will be gone. Only the modified files will be there. It is nothing but overwriting the file. Okay, so that is what it is. And one more thing is that he will able to easily delete the file also. So we don't want that scenarios. For if you don't want for such scenarios, you can go for the object versioning. What the object versioning says is that if you enable the object versioning, if even though someone is modifying your file, the modified file will be there, and also the original file will also be there. So this is what is a object versioning. Any questions on this one, guys?
No, sir. On versioning, we are clear. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so that is great. So this is a object versioning. So when
Here I have one more doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Like if I want to give 1 month of data, because going on taking the backups, I want to stop. Maybe I want to keep last 1 month or last 3 months of data only. After that, it has to be the old one to be released. That is occupies unnecessary space, no?
Correct. Okay, you can do that. You can also do that. Example, that I have a buckets of files with me, and I wanted to delete those files. You can able to put some kind of a criteria. So if some files are having a validity, or if the files having a lifetime of 30 days or 60 days, you wanted to delete those files, you can able to create a rule that I will show you. Once the bucket is created, that is kind of creating a rules on top of your bucket. Okay, creating a rule is something that, sir, I have a file with me which is there from the last 30 months, last 30 days. If once that lifetime is reaching the 30 days, I wanted to delete those files. Or once the 30 days is reached, I wanted to move the storage class from one storage class to one more storage class. Okay, if you have such kind of a rules, then you can able to create it. I will show you how to do that. Okay, yeah. Now, one is object versioning. For restoring the deleted or overwritten objects, to minimize the cost of storing the versions, you can able to limit the versions. So when you go for this one, what is happening is maximum number of versions for object. So if you wanted to have 2 versions for your object, 3 versions for your object, that is fine. And you wanted to expire the versions. For example, so as you told me just now, 2 things, right? So when you are going for versions, you don't want it to have a earlier versions. For example, 30 days you have mentioned. You can see here, I can mention here 30 days. So what happened is that whatever the earlier versions which is having a 30 days validity, all of those versions will be deleted. Okay, so this is how you can able to have the object versioning. This is about versioned files. If you have a direct file level, sir, I have a files which I wanted to delete it. even though it is versioned or not versioned, I am not bothering about it. I just wanted to delete it as soon as the lifetime is 30 days. I will tell you how to do that with help of the rules. This is for the versions. Okay. Yeah. And one more thing is that retention policy. So let me tell you about retention policy. So what is retention policy is that, sir, you have created a bucket. Okay. You have created a bucket. After that, your client is loading this file. Okay, your client is loading this file. But what is happening is that you are coming at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., 1 p.m. or 2 a.m. But your junior data engineering coming at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. What he is doing is that he is trying to modify this file. He is working on this file. He is trying to modify this file, or he is trying to without his without the intention, he is trying to delete the file also. But I don't want it to do such kind. I don't want it to provide such kind of a permissions to him. So what I will do, even though he needs to have access to this particular file, but I don't want him to delete it or modify it until I come to the office. In such criteria, you can able to put retention period. Okay, retention period. What is this retention period is that during this retention period, so for example, if you mention 2 days, during this retention period, no one will be able to touch this file or no one will be able to delete or modify it. Okay, no one will be able to delete it or modify it within this 2 days. Even though I as a person put this kind of a retention policy, right? Even if I go to that particular file and try to delete it, I can't delete it. I try to modify it, I can't modify it. So that is what is a retention policy. Okay, what is the retention policy, sir? Okay, a retention policy is that you specify a retention period, and during that retention period, no one will be able to touch it. No, that means no one will be able to delete the file or modify the file. So that is what is a retention policy. Okay, so this is what it is. So within these 2 days, after 2 days, if you try to delete it, you will be able to delete it. After 2 days, if you try to modify it, you will be able to modify it. So this is what is a retention period. Okay, any questions on this one? Okay, so let me go to the, yeah.
Sir, here, I have one question. If even if an admin also is not able to delete it.
Correct. Yeah, even though the admin cannot be able to delete it. So if you have to delete it, you disable the retention policy manually, then you delete it and enable the retention policy. Okay. So what do? You mentioned retention period 2 days, right? You go to the retention. I will tell you. I will show you guys. Once the bucket is created, I will show you all of these things. Okay. Yeah. So now I am trying a bucket. So I'm going to put a retention period of something like some 5 minutes, nothing but 300 seconds, right? 5, 6, 300. 300 seconds I am putting it. Okay, click on create. So all the things I have mentioned is naming of my bucket, location type, storage class, and access control, as well as retention policy. Okay, so here we have objective versioning. We can go for versions. Here, put retention period. Okay, during such, modify, delete, no. So this is what it is. Okay, now see here, I have created a bucket, this one. You see here, guys, this is the bucket metadata. Okay, this is a bucket metadata. What is a metadata? Data about the data. Landing bucket is something a data. The data about the data is like this bucket name is this one. The location is this one. Storage class is this one. Public access no. And the retention period is this one, 300 seconds. Okay, so now I will try to load a file, guys. If you wanted to load a file, you have plenty of options here. You can drag and drop here. That is one thing. Or you can click on upload files or upload folder or create folder, transform their data. So there are plenty of options here. You can download the file. If you have a file, you can download it. If you have a file, you can delete it also. So let us try to upload a file. So I'm uploading this file, guys. This is a .py file. As I do, what is the cloud storage, guys? Cloud storage will accept any format file, any number of files. There is no restriction on the file size. Okay, now I have imported the .py file. Okay, so this is the metadata of the bucket object. So this is the metadata of the bucket. Or you wanted to see the metadata of the bucket, you click on the configuration. This is the metadata of the bucket, guys. Okay, you are in a bucket level. When you are in a bucket level, all the configuration you see is the metadata of the bucket. So when it is created, when it is updated, location type, location, replication is available or not, default storage class, access control, all of the information you'll be able to see. Okay.
Sir, I have one more doubt, sir.
Yeah.
This retention policy is set based on the bucket level or object level?
It is always the bucket level. It is always the bucket level.
Okay.
Yeah. You will see here, right? So you will be able to see here, right? This is a bucket metadata. And it will be inherited to the objects as well, right? It will be inherited to the object. Nothing but whatever the objects inside this bucket, all are following the same retention period. Likewise for the storage class as well. As I told you, the storage class of the bucket is standard. But you see the object metadata you see here, storage class is also a standard. So that is how it is. And you see the retention period, you put 300 seconds. You see here, retention expiry date. That means after this particular time, you'll be able to delete this file. Retention expiry date, retention period. That means it's going to calculate the 5 minutes. The bucket was created at 8:33 plus 5 minutes equal to 8:38. At this point of time, the bucket can be able to, the object can be able to delete it. Okay, so this is how it is.
Whether the retention policy can be set through ACL?
ACL? Sorry?
Through ACL can be able to
access control list is more about controlling the access, guys. It is not about protection. Okay, access control is more about your security. Okay, retention policies are more about protection. Should understand the security. We should not combine the both of them. Security is different, protection is different. Protecting your data is different. Security, we don't want it to unnecessarily provide access to some other unknown users. And protection is something, even though the access is provided to the some user which we know, but we don't want him to have an extra kind of a permissions, or even though he tried to have access to the file, I don't want him to do such kind of activity. So such kind of a scenarios we are trying to put it, that is to protect the data. Okay, so this is it. If you wanted to see the bucket metadata, click on the object metadata, click on the object. So this is the object metadata. You see here object details, and this is your object that you have selected, and this is all about the object metadata. The type of the file, size of the file, created, last modified, storage class, all of the information. So this is authenticated URL. This is a GSUtil URL. So if you wanted to access this file, as I told you, cloud storage is not just to store the data, it is to retrieve the data. So access is nothing but a retrieving the data, right? So from some other tool, we wanted to have this file. So to read this file from some other platform, so within the Google Cloud platform, you can able to use this path. Outside the Google Cloud platform, you can able to use this path. Outside the Google Cloud platform, you can use this particular bigger path. Okay, inside the Google Cloud platform, you can able to use this path. So that is what the difference. Okay. Yeah. This is very much important. All the time we are coming here and copying the path of this file. Okay. So this is what it is. I'm going to the bucket. And now it is 37, right? I'm trying to delete it. It is not 38. I'm trying to delete it. See here, click on delete. See, the reason is could not be deleted because it has a retention policy. If you go to that one, you'll be able to see it is failed. The status is failed because it has Okay. Okay, so this way we will be able to put retention policies, sir. Sir, now as an admin, even I am the owner of this entire account. This is my individual account. I can't do it because I am the admin, I am the owner, everything I am, but still I can't be able to delete it, right? So if I wanted to delete this file manually, I can go to the protection tool. Okay, so retention policy, right? I can able to just delete the retention policy. As an admin, I can able to delete the retention policy. Retention policy is deleted. I go to the objects. Now I can able to delete it. So that is there. As an admin, I want to delete. No one will be able to delete the policies. I am admin of this account, so that's the reason I will be able to delete the retention policy. Otherwise, if someone is trying to delete the retention policy, they do not have an access. See here, I have removed the retention policy. Now you don't see it a retention policy at all. So if you wanted to put a retention policy, again come to the protection, set retention policy, and duration is 3 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is. Or you can go for days, you can go for months and years also, you can able to put it, click on save. Okay, so that is how we will be able to do it. If you want to edit it, sir, I wanted to change the time. So you can able to commit. You can mention the time. You can change the. You can edit it. As who can edit it? As an admin, he can only edit it. You can't edit it. So I am the admin of this account, so I'll be able to edit it. So this is how it is, guys. Okay. Any questions?
What is lock, sir?
Sorry.
Lock.
Lock. So you're able to unlock it, unlock it. So for example, if you wanted to, I'm going to show you.
So you are not audible, sir.
So I'm not talking now. I'm talking, guys. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to lock the policy. So if I'm locking the policy, what is happened here is that so the lock is it is locked. So now no one will be able to delete it at all. Okay, no one will be able to delete it at all. So that is how it is for a short period of time. Even though that short period of time, during that period, even though if an admin wanted to delete the retention policy, he cannot do it. He can only edit it. Okay, he can only edit it. I can just mention 0 seconds or 1 second. I can mention. Okay, I cannot change it, right? So I wanted to change the retention policy time. Even though during the lock period, I cannot be able to do that. Okay, so this is how I put the lock.
How to unlock, sir?
So after some time, it will be automatically unlocked. Okay. Yeah. So you usually don't need to worry about all of these things. And someone was asking about a rule, right? So sir, after 30 days, I wanted to delete the files which is having a lifetime of 30 days. So you can add a rule like this. Okay, so delete an object. So what is the condition? Deleting object is an action. What is the condition? Storage class lifetime. Somewhere the lifetime will be there, guys. Look at it here. Age is nothing but a lifetime. Age. So what is the age? 30 days, right? So after 30 days, the file will be deleted. It can create it. Okay. What is an action? Action is deleting a bucket, deleting the objects. Condition is, so this is a condition, 30 plus days. So once the object is created, after the object is created, if it is there for 30 days, 31st day, the object will be deleted. Once whatever the object is deleted, if that lifetime of the object is 30 days, it will be deleted after 30 days. So that is what it is. Okay. Yeah. Is it good, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I don't want this one. You can able to delete it. you can able to delete it as well, or you can also add few more rules. You can also see here plenty of the options are here, guys. You just have to make yourself comfortable and try to look at each and every action. So for your project, sorry, I wanted to do these things. I'm setting the storage class to some other storage class, from one storage class to one more storage class, based on the some age of the time are created before, whatever it is. So you have a plenty of things here. Try to look at it here, make yourself comfortable with the UI. Okay, and permissions. So this is the main thing that we wanted to talk about. Okay, as I told you, access controls. So I have selected the access control as fine grained. See here, access to the objects can be granted through object access control list, that is ACLS, to enforce the single set of permissions. So for this one, now I wanted to provide access to the individual persons. So what I wanted to do, I go to the object. So first I will upload any of the object, guys. Okay, I'll upload some files here. Okay, I have uploaded few files here. So these are all the data proc codes, guys. So which we are going to see in our upcoming classes. So for example, think that I wanted to provide access to this file to some user, user one, this file to some other user, this file to some other user. To do that, I go to this particular file, click on that particular file, and click on the, you have seen, right, edit metadata, edit access, delete it, right? I click on edit access. So what I'm trying to do, object level, I'm editing the access. You see here, if you don't rely on individual object level access, you can also go for uniform access. But now I have selected a fine grained access. Now I wanted to add an entry, and so I wanted to add a user, guys. So that is something that assume that I have my other mail ID number. So I'm going to mention my mail ID here, gmail.com. So what kind of access I wanted to provide him? Reader or owner. So reader is something he can just read the file. Okay. Owner is something he can have a editor access. Owner, all the access will be provided to him. So click on this one, save. Okay. So this is how for the demo one file. What is the file, sir? You will be able to see here. For the demo one file, I have provided access to the some team member. Okay, what kind of access I have provided him? Editor access, nothing but a owner access I have provided him, so that he will be able to edit it, delete it, work with it, modify it, anything he can do it to that to that particular file, with that particular file. Okay, so that is what it is. Even though, sir, I wanted to provide one more access to the one more person. That means, sir, I have a demo2 file. Sir, I have this file, and I wanted to provide him. Access to some other user. Okay, so this time I don't wanted to add one user only. I wanted to add two users also. You can just add two users also. Sorry, add entry. Two users also. You can just keep user one, comma user two. Any number of users you can mention, and whether you wanted to provide a reader or owner, that is fine. Or no, sir, I wanted to provide an entire group access. We can mention entire group access. Or sir, no, sir, this particular file wanted to have because this particular object is there in a bucket which is there in one project. Sir, I wanted to provide access to the one more project. You can also mention to one more project. Okay. No, sir, I wanted to make it public. Okay. So all users. Okay. So I'm going to provide access to this particular file, sir. Save it. So that is this is okay. Sorry. Okay, I might have enforced it, guys. So I might have enforced it. If I do not have enforced it, I could have done it. So even though if I provide you the path, so even though you will be able to access to it. 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Okay. So this is it, guys. So this is how you will be able to provide access to the individual objects as well. Okay. So edit access, you provide access to the individual user or a group of users or a project or a even the public access also I can provide it. But the thing is that I have enforced the public access, so that's the reason I can't do that. So usually whenever we create a bucket, now it's going to ask you to enforce the public access. So I click that confirm. If I do not have done that, I'll be able to provide the access to the public as well. So that is how. So this is, you see here, public access is prevented. Okay, so that is how we will be able to achieve all the things. Either I can provide access to the person, I can create a rules, I can also protect the data with the help of the retention policies and many things. Okay, we can able to do it. Yeah, any questions, guys? Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I'm good, sir. Like access controls and retention policies, these two topics we discussed.
Yes. So that is what we have discussed today, access control and retention policy. And hope you have a good idea on the storage classes as well as location type. So these are the main four major things that we have to keep in our mind while we are creating a bucket, guys. So retention policies and access controls can be changed later as well. So need not to worry about it. For example, so I go to the permissions, I can make this access control is 500, right? I can switch it to the, why it is not coming? I can switch it to the uniform as well. Uniform to 500 also I can switch it. I need not to switch it to the uniform because anyway, I am also I can do it, object level also I can do it. Okay, object level also I can do it, uniform also I can do it while I am in the fine grained. Okay, while I am in the fine grained, object level permissions can also be enabled, and I also IAM level. Okay, so that is also uniform bucket level. Also I can able to do it. So I can click on grant access. The mail ID, I will mention the mail ID here. Role, I'll come to the cloud storage. I'll make him as a creator or viewer. He just is a viewer, I mention and save it. So this is a IAM level. So to the entire bucket, I'm not selecting any file here. You see, I'm not selecting any file here. It will be applicable to the entire bucket. Okay, it will be applicable to the entire bucket. So that is will be able to put a permission, put a access request on the bucket level. This is when I select each individual bucket, that is for the object level. Okay, so this is how we will be able to do it. Okay. Okay, guys, this is it for today. We will meet tomorrow for more, one more thing. I mean, so far what we have done is that we have created a bucket with help of the user interface, right? So tomorrow what we will do, we will create a bucket using Cloud Shell. That means with the help of the Linux commands, with the help of the shell commands, we are going to create a bucket. So I'm going to tell you each and every service can be interacted two ways. One is via user interface, one more is via command line tool. Okay, both the things we have to learn while we are learning the each tool. Okay, so we will see the rest of the things tomorrow. That is our agenda tomorrow, guys.
UI means this console only, right, sir?
Yeah, this is a console is nothing but a UI. So the user clicks. UI means user clicks. Command line tool is nothing but with the help of the command line interface, nothing but a commands. We are going to provide the command or a code. So based on that code, we are going to interact with the service.
And one more thing, sir, regarding this cloud. Earlier we created objects, right? There is one more thing called encryption and all. Those will come under IAM things, like we'll
So
cover.
automatically encryption will be there, sir. We need not to worry about it. By default, the Google encryption will be there for all the data that is there in the Google Cloud Storage. Okay. So we need not to worry about the encryption. Automatically encryption will be there. If you have wanted to go for customer managed encryptions, that is also fine. But by default, it is there.
I do have a like some POCs I worked on earlier, like CMEC keys. I do want to know more about that one, like how we can CMEC keys, like customer managed encryption keys. for
I mean,
few
just
of
an
them.
option. We mentioned, we just, Google managed encryption is direct. And
Okay.
when you have a customer managed encryption, you select that customer managed encryption and you provide the keys.
Keys, correct. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So we will meet tomorrow at the same time and we will progress on the same topic with help of the Cloud Shell. Okay, shell commands and Linux operating commands we are going to see tomorrow, and we will see what is this Cloud Shell, what is this Cloud Shell editor, and once we define it properly, and we will go and work with that Cloud Shell. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you all.